The vibration of my pager against my hip is a familiar, jagged rhythm against the controlled chaos of the ER. Dr. Rowland, need you in trauma 2. MVC, multiple fractures. I nod, stripping my gloves. On my way. Atlanta Memorial is a symphony of beeping monitors, shouting, and the squeal of gurney wheels. We're 3 hours into a brutal shift, and the board is full. As I push through the doors to Trauma 2, my personal phone, zipped into my scrub pocket, buzzes with a frantic intensity. It's not a text, it's a call. My stomach plummets. I've told my family never to call during a shift unless the world is ending. Cover me for 1 minute, I tell Samantha, my resident. I duck behind a supply cart, ripping the phone out. The screen shows Livia. I answer. Livia? Honey, I'm at work. What's wrong? A choked sob cuts through the phone. Mom, I can't get in. What do you mean you can't get in? I press the phone hard against my ear, trying to block out a code blue announcement overhead. My key. It won't work. It goes in, but it won't turn. Her voice is thin and terrified. I'm outside, and it's raining so hard, and Oliver won't stop crying in his carrier. The image hits me instantly. My 12-year-old daughter, soaked in her school uniform, backpack plastered to her back, holding our terrified cat on the porch. Where is Grandma Madeline or Aunt Tabitha? Are they not home? They are, she wails, and a new wave of panic hits me. I can see the TV on through the living room window, and their cars are here. But I'm knocking and ringing the bell, and nobody's coming to the door. Mom, what's happening? Cold dread, sharper than any scalpel, cuts right through me. Okay, Livia, listen to me. Go to the side porch, under the awning. There's more cover there. Stay out of the worst of the rain. Mommy, please. I'm leaving now, baby. I'll be right there. Don't move from that spot. I love you. I hang up and burst out from behind the cart, nearly colliding with Dr. Mason, our chief of staff. Roland, we're drowning here. I need you on that MVC, he barks. Livia's locked out of the house, in the rain. Her grandmother is inside and won't let her in. The words sound insane, even to me. What? Can't your sister get her? We're 3 nurses down. There is no one else, I say, the truth of it hitting me. I have to go. Gabriella, you can't just walk out. I'm already moving toward the charge nurse's station. Nancy Wheeler looks up from her chart, her face a mask of exhaustion. Don't ask me for anything, Gabriella. We're sinking. I need to leave. Family emergency. She sighs, a sound like grinding gravel. We're short-staffed. We have 2 ambulances inbound. Can't it possibly wait? I lean in, my voice dropping to a low, shaking whisper. My father just died 2 weeks ago, Nancy. Remember? I'm using that card. I'm going. Her expression flickers. She knows I haven't taken a single day off. She just nods. Go. Just go. I don't bother with the locker room. I sprint through the automatic doors, my scrubs already dampening from the spray, and hit the button on my keychain. My car chirps from across the parking lot, a tiny beacon in the storm. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. The drive is a blur of windshield wipers slapping frantically against the downpour. The streets are flooding, and every red light is a personal insult. I grip the wheel, my knuckles white, replaying Livia's terrified sobs. They're inside. They're ignoring her. It doesn't make sense. Madeline, my mother, has been distant since my father, Patrick, passed. My half-sister, Tabitha, has always been openly resentful. But this is monstrous. I skid into our driveway, the car hydroplaning for a terrifying second. Through the sheets of rain, I see her, a small, huddled shape on the side porch, clutching the cat carrier. Livia! I'm out of the car before the engine is off, sprinting through the deluge. The rain is cold and stings my face. My scrubs are instantly soaked to the skin. Mom! She collapses against me, burying her wet face in my stomach, her whole body shaking. I'm so cold. Oliver is so scared. I've got you. I'm here. I pull her tight, stroking her plastered hair. It's okay. I'm here now. Let's get inside. I try to sound calm, but my heart is hammering. I guide her to the front door, and as we step onto the porch, I see it. A flicker of movement in the living room window, a curtain dropping back into place. They are home, I whisper. Okay, baby, let me try my key. I slide my key into the deadbolt. It goes in smoothly. I turn. Nothing. It hits a solid metallic stop. It won't budge. What? I jiggle it, rattling the knob. Nothing. They change the locks. A cold, white-hot rage surges up my throat. I abandon the key and hammer on the door with my fist. Madeline! Tabitha! Open this door right now! Livia is out here, soaking wet. I pound again, hard enough to make the door rattle in its frame. Open the door, or I swear I'll break a window. The peephole darkens. A moment later, the deadbolt slides back with a loud, deliberate thunk. The door swings open. My mother, Madeleine, stands in the entryway. She is immaculate. Her silver hair is perfectly coiffed. She's wearing a silk lounge set and holding a glass of red wine. Behind her, my half-sister Tabitha leans against the wall, swirling her own glass, a nasty smirk playing on her lips. Well, Madeleine says, taking a slow, delicate sip. Her eyes travel over our drenched, shivering forms with clinical detachment. You got here faster than I expected, Gabriella. What is this? I demand, trying to push past her to get Livia inside. What's wrong with the locks? Why didn't you let your granddaughter in? Madeleine blocks the doorway with a surprising firmness, her free hand coming up to rest on the door jamb. That's not necessary. We've decided you and Livia don't live here anymore. The words don't compute. They're just sounds, hanging in the wet air. What are you talking about? This is our home. This was Dad's home. Not anymore, Tabitha says, stepping forward. Her voice is dripping with pleasure. She points a manicured finger toward the curb, past my car. Your things are out there. What's left of them anyway. The rain's been pretty brutal. I turn, my stomach clenching, and I see them. Cardboard boxes, a dozen of them, sitting by the curb like trash. They're dark with rainwater, collapsing in on themselves. A wave of nausea hits me as I see what's spilling out. Clothes, books, Livia's school projects, all dissolving into a pulpy, colorful mess on the sodden lawn. My medical textbooks, the photo albums I'd just taken out after the funeral, our lives literally dissolving in the gutter. From the carrier at Livia's feet, Oliver lets out another pitiful, terrified meow. You threw our things outside? I look back at Madeleine, the woman who gave birth to me, the woman I moved back home to care for when Dad got sick. I search her eyes for any sign of reason, of sanity. There is nothing, just a cold, flat resentment I'd seen glimpses of but never fully acknowledged. This was always my house, Gabriella, she says, her voice as cold as the rain. Patrick spoiled you. He always did. It's time you learned to stand on your own. Mom, Livia whimpers, pulling on my scrub top. My other cat. Where's Milo? Is he still inside? Tabitha laughs, a short, ugly bark. He's probably hiding under a bed somewhere. I guess he's our cat now. You did this, I say, my voice dangerously quiet. You locked a 12-year-old child out of her home in a storm. She's your child, Gabriella. Not my problem, Madeleine says, raising her glass in a mock toast. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're having dinner. She starts to close the door. You will regret this, I say, the words tasting like iron. Madeleine pauses. I highly doubt that. She closes the door. The deadbolt clicks back into place. For a full minute, I just stand there. The rain streams down my face, mixing with the hot, angry tears I refuse to let fall. I am shaking, but not from the cold. Mom, what are we going to do? Livia's voice is a tiny thread in the storm. That snaps me back. I turn away from the door and look at the soggy pile on the curb. We get our things. Come on. I walk to my car and pop the trunk. We walk back into the rain, into the street. We are a spectacle. I see the curtains twitching in our neighbors' houses. Catherine Wallace across the street, her hand over her mouth. the Millers next door, whispering behind their blinds. I grit my teeth and start grabbing what I can. I tear open a box that's falling apart. My nursing textbooks from college, pages warped and ink bleeding, photo albums where our faces are blurring together like watercolors, Livia's science fair ribbon, the blue ink running like a tear. "It's all ruined," Livia cries, holding up a soggy, shapeless lump of clay that was her art project. "We'll get more," I say, my voice thick. "Just grab what you can. Anything that's in a plastic bag, any clothes. Just throw it in the trunk." We work in silence, broken only by Livia's sobs and the relentless drumming of the rain. We are soaked, muddy, and humiliated. Madeline steps back onto the porch, shielded from the rain, still holding her wine. She watches us. "You always thought you were better than us, Gabriella, with your fancy doctor job and his name, but you're nothing. You're just like me." I ignore her. I focus on the task. Salvage. Survive. Livia tugs on my arm, her face pale. "Mom, Grandpa's books, his antique medical books, they're still inside. And Milo." I stop, my hands full of wet sweaters. I look at her, at the absolute devastation in her eyes. I squeeze her hand, my own shaking with a rage so profound it scares me. I walk back up the driveway right to the foot of the porch. Madeline's smile wavers, maybe expecting me to beg. "We'll be at the Residence Inn on 5th, I say, my voice loud and clear, carrying over the rain. "Forward our mail." I look directly into her eyes. "And trust me, Madeline, this is not over." Something flickers in her face. Surprise. She's used to me smoothing things over, being the peacemaker. She's not used to this. Behind her, Tabitha refills her glass, but I see her hand tremble. I turn my back on them and walk back to the car. I slam the trunk shut on the heap of our ruined possessions. I get Livia buckled in, wrapping her in the emergency blanket I keep in the back. I get in the driver's seat, the upholstery squelching under my wet scrubs. As I back out of the driveway, I look in the rearview mirror. Madeline is still standing there, a silhouette against the warm light of the house my father loved, the house I grew up in. For the first time, I don't feel grief. I don't feel sadness. I feel something new, something hard and cold and focused. It feels like freedom. The Residence Inn on 5th Street smells like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Our room is a beige box. Soggy cardboard boxes form a depressing archipelago across the carpet. Livia's school uniform is dripping from the shower rod. Oliver is huddled under the desk, a miserable damp ball of orange fur. I've laid out every salvaged item on the beds. I am cataloging the damage like I would a patient's injuries. My textbooks, destroyed. Livia's school notes, illegible. A framed photo of my father, Patrick, his face now a watercolor ghost. I pick up my phone. My hands are still shaking. I dial. "Miles Patton's office," a crisp voice answers. "This is Gabriella Rowland," I say, my voice hoarse. "I need to speak with Miles, now. It's an emergency regarding my father's estate." "I'm sorry, Ms. Rowland, but Mr. Patton is in a deposition. If you'll leave Tell him it's Patrick Rowland's daughter. Tell him Madeline and Tabitha have locked me and Livia out of the house and thrown our belongings in the street." A sharp intake of breath on the other end. "Please hold." The hold music is a tinny, awful classical piece. I pace the small room, stepping over a ruined photo album. "Gabriella?" Miles's voice comes on, sharp and alert. "What in God's name is going on? Repeat what you told my assistant." I explain it, clinically, detached, the way I report a patient's status. Time of arrival, 5:30 p.m. Found daughter locked out in the rain. Locks changed. All possessions removed from the premises and left on the curb during a storm. They what? Miles sounds genuinely shocked. "That's impossible. Gabriella, they can't do that." "They did, Miles. I'm at a hotel with my daughter and our cat. Everything we own is in wet boxes on the floor." "Gabriella." His voice drops. "Your father?" "Patrick transferred the house. He put the property into an irrevocable trust for you and Livia 6 months ago. He signed it a week before his last hospitalization." The room tilts. I grab the back of the desk chair to steady myself. What? What are you talking about? He did it, Gabby. The house is yours. It's been legally yours and Livia's since the day he passed. Madeline has no legal right to be in that house, let alone change the locks or touch your things. She's a tenant. You are the owner. I sink onto the edge of the bed. Why? Why wouldn't he tell me? He left a letter. He told me not to give it to you unless something like this happened. He said he hoped he was wrong, but he'd known Madeline for 40 years. Livia comes out of the bathroom, her hair wrapped in a towel, her eyes too old for her face. She watches me, silent. I'm coming to your office, Miles, I say, standing up. I'm coming right now. An hour later, I'm staring at a stack of legal documents on Miles Patton's polished mahogany desk. Property transfer forms, trust agreements, signed, notarized, and filed with the county clerk. Your father was meticulous, Miles says, his expression grim. He knew. He saw this coming. He slides a sealed cream-colored envelope across the desk. My name is on it in my father's distinctive, elegant handwriting. I break the seal. My hands are trembling so badly I can barely unfold the page. My dearest Gabriella, if you are reading this, it means Madeleine has done exactly what I feared. Please forgive me for not telling you this while I was still here. I didn't want to burden you further, and I suppose I hoped, even at the end, that she would choose to be better. The house is yours and Livia's. In my heart, it always was. You were the one who valued it. You were the one who came home, who sacrificed your career and your life to care for me when I needed you most. I've watched Madeleine's resentment for you grow for years. She resented my bond with you. She resented that you became the strong one, the one everyone relied on. You carry us all, Gabby, even when your own shoulders are breaking. Don't carry her anymore. This home is your protection. It's the one thing I could give you to take care of you and our Livia, the way you took care of me. Don't let her take it from you. All my love, Dad. A single tear hits the signature, blurring the D. The sob that escapes me is ragged, torn from somewhere deep inside. It's a sound of grief, yes, but also of a terrible, clarifying rage. He knew. He knew her, and he knew me. He knew this would happen, Miles says quietly, handing me a box of tissues. We have everything we need for an emergency injunction. Madeleine and Tabitha are, as of this moment, illegally trespassing on your property. My phone buzzes. A text from my neighbor, Catherine Wallace. Catherine, Gabby, honey, I'm so sorry. I saw what they did. You need to know, Tabitha's SUV has been here all day. They're moving furniture in. I think she and her husband are moving into the house. I show the text to Miles. She's moved in. Within 24 hours of locking us out. His mouth tightens into a thin line. This was premeditated. This was a plan. What can they do, Miles? The nurse in me takes over. Assessment. What will their move be? They'll fight. They'll claim you're an unfit mother, that you abandoned Patrick, that he was mentally incompetent when he signed this. He hesitates. Tabitha's husband, Roman, he's a snake. He called me this morning, actually. Testing the waters. Said Tabitha was concerned about your mental health since your father's death, that you've been erratic. Erratic? The word is a hiss. It's the narrative, Gabby. They're going to paint you as unstable, grieving and grasping, and Madeleine as the poor, grieving widow. Another text from Catherine. They're in the backyard now. Tabitha's twin boys are jumping on Livia's trampoline. Something inside me snaps. The grief, the shock, the humiliation. It all recedes, replaced by something cold and hard as steel. I stand up and walk to the window overlooking the Atlanta skyline. My hospital ID badge is still clipped to my scrub pants. I catch my reflection in the glass. The woman staring back isn't a victim. Her eyes are hard. Her jaw is set. I save strangers' lives every single day. I whisper to the reflection. It's time I saved my own. I turn back to Miles. This isn't about revenge. This is about justice. We're not just getting the house back, Miles. We're taking everything they're not entitled to. I make 3 decisions fast, like triaging a multi-car pileup. First, I'm calling in sick. I'll take a leave of absence. This is my full-time job now. Second, you file the emergency possession order today. Third, we need to gather our own narrative. Miles nods, already pulling out forms. I'll file immediately. The trust is ironclad. But they'll try to drag this out, bleed you dry. Let them try. Back at the hotel, the beige room feels less like a prison and more like a command center. My first call is to Dr. Samantha Warren, my colleague from the ER. An hour later, she's in the lobby with 2 large suitcases. Clean scrubs, she says, no nonsense. Real clothes for you and Livia that don't smell like river water, and every fancy travel-sized toiletry I've ever hoarded. You will not fight this battle smelling like hotel soap. I haven't cried since reading my father's letter, but her practical, fierce kindness almost breaks me. Thank you, Sam. Shut up and take the bags. You'd do it for me. She pulls me into a hard hug. Now go take a shower. You look like hell, and you need to think. Next is Livia's teacher, Ms. Bryant. She arrives with a stack of schoolwork and a file folder. I heard what happened, she says, her voice quiet but strong. Livia is one of our best students. I've already documented her distress, and I've prepared a statement about her relationship with her grandfather. He never missed a school event. He was more of a parent to her than... Well, it's all in here. My phone rings. An unknown number. Gabriella? It's your Aunt Evelyn, my mother's younger sister. We hadn't spoken in years, not since she and Madeline had a falling out. Evelyn, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Evelyn's voice is tight with an anger I recognize. I know what my sister did. She's been planning this, Gabby. She told me at Christmas she was going to reclaim her life and get what she was owed as soon as Patrick was gone. I thought she was just bitter. I never thought she'd do this. Why are you telling me this? Because it's wrong, and because Tabitha is already on Facebook Marketplace selling your father's medical equipment, the antique surgical kits. I have screenshots. I'm sending them to you right now. My phone pings, a series of images, my father's prized possessions listed for quick sale. Thank you, Evelyn, I say, my voice thick. Don't thank me, just destroy them. The next morning, my phone pings with a message from an unknown number. It's not a text, but an email forwarded to my personal account. Sender, a concerned friend. Subject, you need to see this. They're selling it. Gabby, I can't say who I am, but your family is talking. Tabitha is bragging. They're not just moving in, they're selling the house out from under you. They've got a cash buyer, an investor, and they're closing in 48 hours. Here's the listing. Don't let them win. A link follows. I click it. My stomach turns to ice. It's my house, my father's house, a private off-market real estate site. The photos are new, taken from my mother's Facebook page. The status, under contract, cash offer. Pending inspection. The closing date is 2 days from now. Miles! I call him, my voice frantic. They're selling it. They have a buyer. They're closing in 2 days. I forward him the email. There's a sharp curse on his end. This complicates things. An emergency injunction is one thing, but stopping a third-party sale? Gabby, this is bad. They must have been planning this for months to have a cash buyer lined up. What do we do? Can they do that? They can't legally sell a property they don't own, but they can try. They can forge documents. If a sale goes through, unwinding it is a nightmare. It could take years and cost a fortune. So we stop it, I say, my heart hammering. We have to, he agrees. I have to file an emergency alias pendens and a temporary restraining order against the title company and this buyer. It's going to be expensive, Gabby. We have to serve all parties. We'll need a private investigator to find out who this investor is. It'll exhaust your retainer. Do it, I say, looking at my dwindling savings account online. Do whatever it takes. For the next 36 hours, we are in a frantic scramble. Miles files the emergency motions. I drain my bank account to pay for the PI and the filing fees. We work all night. We're exhausted, terrified. The PI calls Miles the next afternoon. It's a ghost, he says. The investor is a shell corporation registered in Delaware that doesn't exist. The title company on the listing has no record of the property. The listing site? It's a dummy. It was created 3 days ago. I listen on speakerphone, the blood draining from my face. It was a fake, Gabby, Miles says, his voice flat. It was a trap. A trap? They wanted this. They knew you'd find out. They wanted you to panic. They wanted you to waste your time, your money, and your emotional energy on a ghost. They wanted to drain your war chest before the real fight even starts. I sit down hard on the hotel bed. My entire retainer gone. My savings gutted. All to chase a shadow. Livia looks at me, her eyes wide with fear. Mom, what's wrong? I look at her, and the panic, the fear, it all burns away, leaving only a cold, hard fury. They didn't just lock us out. They didn't just steal our home. They're playing with us. Nothing's wrong, honey, I say, my voice coming out low and steady. They just made a very big mistake. The false lead costs us 2 precious days and nearly all my liquid cash. It also proves what we're up against. This isn't just spite. It's a coordinated, strategic attack. While we were chasing ghosts, Madeline and Tabitha were busy. Madeline's Facebook post is the first thing I see when I wake up. It's a picture of her and my father from years ago. Madeline Rowland, please pray for our family. After my beloved Patrick's passing, our daughter Gabriella has been struggling deeply. In her grief, she has chosen to abandon the family home and has taken Livia with her. It's heartbreaking, but some grief manifests in anger. We are praying for her healing. The comments are a flood of, "Oh, Madeline, you poor thing," and "praying for you," from her church friends and our extended family. She's painting me as the one who left, I hiss, throwing the phone on the bed. Then Livia's school calls. Ms. Rowland, this is Principal Davies. We received a concerning call this morning from a Mrs. Tabitha. I believe she said she's your sister. My knuckles go white on the phone. Yes, what did she say? She expressed deep concern for Livia's well-being. She claimed you were having a mental health crisis and that Livia wasn't in a stable environment. She wanted to know if she, as Livia's aunt, could pick her up from school. Absolutely not, I say, my voice shaking with rage. You do not release my daughter to anyone but me. I will be there to pick her up myself, and I will be bringing a copy of my father's will and my lawyer's card. Of course, Ms. Rowland. I had to check. Then the family calls start. Aunt Clara, Uncle Richard. Gabriella, darling, your mother is worried sick. What's this about you running off? You need to be with family at a time like this. She locked me out of my house, Uncle Richard. Now, Gabby, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Your mother is grieving. You're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. Go home. Apologize. Fix this. Apologize? They're building their narrative, Miles says when I call him, fuming. They're poisoning the well, making you look unstable and unreasonable. So when we get to court, it's not loving daughter and granddaughter illegally evicted. It's erratic. Grieving woman tries to steal home from poor widow. We have to fight back. Not with emotion. With facts. What facts? I snap. They've drained my bank account. We'll work out the money. You need to gather evidence. Hard, cold, undeniable proof. The switch flips. The grieving daughter, the panicked mother, she's gone. The trauma nurse is in charge. My first stop is the hospital. I go to security. I need the parking garage footage from 2 nights ago, Deck C near the elevators, around 8 p.m. The security chief, a retired cop named Sal, raises an eyebrow. Problem? A man threatened me. Tabitha's husband, Roman. He cornered me coming off my shift. I'll have it for you in an hour. Next, I go to my father's doctors. I go to his oncologist, his neurologist, his primary care physician. I don't just ask for statements. I sit with them. Doctor. Patel, you treated my father for 2 years. Did you ever, at any point, question his mental competency? Good heavens, no, he says, horrified. Your father was sharp as a tack until the very end. He was the one explaining his own chart to the residents. He was lucid, clear, and very, very determined, especially about you. Will you put that in a sworn affidavit? I'll write it myself this afternoon. I get 3 of them, all identical, all ironclad. Then I go to my own department. I pull my schedules. I cross-reference them with my father's medical charts, his treatment schedules, his hospice nurse visits. I create a spreadsheet. Gabriella Rowland, 12-hour shift, 7 p.m., 7 a.m. Patrick Rowland. Chemotherapy infusion, 9 a.m., attended by G. Rowland. Gabriella Rowland, 12-hour shift, 7 p.m., 7 a.m. Patrick Rowland. Oncology follow-up, 10 a.m., attended by G. Rowland. Page after page of it. 2 years of my life condensed into a timeline of impossible logistics. 2 years of working full-time nights in an ER and spending my days as his full-time caregiver, while Madeline went to her bridge club and Tabitha couldn't handle seeing him sick. I have the affidavits, I tell Miles, stacking them on his desk. I have the schedules. I have the security footage of Roman blocking my car in the garage, clear as day. Miles looks at the stack, then at me. A slow smile spreads across his face. Good. This is very good. Now, we're missing some core documents. Your daughter's original birth certificate, your father's original medical files. They'll claim our copies are fakes. We need the originals. They're in the house, I say, in the filing cabinet in Dad's study. We can file a motion to retrieve. No, that takes time. I stand up. I'm going to go get them. I don't go alone. I call the local precinct non-emergency line. My name is Gabriella Rowland. I am the legal owner of 1245 Willow Creek Drive. My mother and sister are illegally occupying the property. I need to retrieve vital legal documents, specifically my daughter's birth certificate. I am requesting a police escort to prevent a breach of the peace. 40 minutes later, I'm parking 3 houses down. Officer Brody's cruiser is sitting quietly at the corner. He gives me a subtle nod. I walk up the stone path. It feels different now. 7 days ago, I was here, soaked and begging. Today, my footsteps are loud on the concrete. I feel calm, cold. I ring the bell. I hear movement, annoyed muttering. The door opens. Madeline is there, a coffee cup in hand. Her smile freezes, then curdles into a scowl. You are not welcome here. Get off my property. It's not your property, Madeline, I say calmly. I press record on my phone and hold it up visibly. I am legally requesting my personal documents, specifically my daughter Livia's birth certificate and my father's medical files, which are in the study. I have a police officer present to ensure my safety. Tabitha appears behind her, her face flushing an ugly red. You're recording us? You're bringing the cops? We'll have you arrested for harassment. I've already notified them I'd be here. I nod toward Officer Brody, who is now stepping out of his cruiser. This is a formal, documented request for my legal property. You have 5 minutes to produce the files, or I will file for an emergency writ of entry. Madeline's eyes well up with tears, the familiar tactic, the one that always worked. Gabriella, how can you do this? After everything I've done for you, your father would be so ashamed. I just stare. I don't react. The tears have no effect. When my silence stretches, the sadness in her face hardens into something sharp and venomous. You think you can just take what's mine, that house, this life. He owed it to me. He never appreciated me, and neither did you. The files, Madeline, I repeat, my voice flat. The filing cabinet in Dad's study. Top drawer. She glares at me, her chest heaving. She wants me to scream. She wants a fight. I give her nothing. With a snarl, she spins around and stomps down the hall. I hear her rattling the cabinet, slamming drawers. She comes back and shoves a manila folder into my chest. Here, take your precious papers and get out. Thank you, I say, taking the folder. I don't check it here, I just turn and walk away. You'll never win, she screams at my back. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. I get in my car right in front of Officer Brody and open the folder. It's all there. Livia's birth certificate, Dad's original medical history. I start the car and pull away, not looking back. Small victories, necessary ones. I drive straight to Miles's office, my hands shaking with adrenaline. I feel victorious. I feel in control. I got them, I say, sliding the manila folder across his desk. The originals. Just like you said. Miles lets out a low whistle. Gabriella Rowland, you are a force of nature. He takes the folder and opens it, verifying the contents. This is it. This is what we needed. The originals. They can't dispute this. He places the folder, along with the original trust documents and my father's letter, into his heavy leather briefcase. This is our entire case, right here, irrefutable. I'm going to lock this in my office safe overnight. Tomorrow, I'll file copies with the court and we'll present the originals at the hearing. Thank you, Miles, for everything. Don't thank me yet. They're snakes. They'll do something else. Go get some rest. I drive back to the hotel, and for the first time in a week, I actually sleep. I'm woken at 7 a.m. by my phone ringing. It's Miles. His voice is tight, clipped. Gabby, I need you to come to my office, right now. Miles, what's wrong? You sound... Just come now. I throw on clothes, wake Livia, and race downtown. The street in front of Miles's building is cordoned off. There's a police car. My stomach drops. I find Miles standing on the curb talking to an officer. His car, parked where it was last night, has a shattered rear window. Glass glitters all over the pavement. Miles! He turns, and his face is pale. They broke in, sometime around 3 a.m., smashed the window. Oh my God, did they take anything? He just looks at me. One thing. Just one. No, I whisper. My briefcase. The one from last night. It's gone, Gabby. They took everything. The original trust, your father's letter, the medical files, your daughter's birth certificate, all of it. I have to lean against the side of the building. My legs are gone. Roman, I breathe. It was Tabitha's husband, Roman. The police said it looks professional, Miles says, rubbing his face. They didn't touch the laptop next to it. They didn't touch the cash in the console. They knew exactly what they were looking for. But what do we do? My voice is shaking. That was our whole case. We have copies, he says, but his voice is grim. We have the affidavits from the doctors, the digital scans, but the originals, Gabby, this is what they'll latch onto. They'll say the originals are missing because they were fake. This hurts us. Badly. So we're back to nothing. No, he says, his eyes hardening. We're not. We're back to fighting. They just showed us how scared they are. Now we have to be more aggressive. The hearing is in 2 days. We have to make our copies look as good as the real thing. But I can see it in his eyes. The irrefutable case just became very refutable. We lost our advantage. We lost our proof. The courtroom is cold, all polished wood and high ceilings. It smells like old paper and anxiety. Judge Helen Calloway's courtroom. I know her reputation. She's tough, by the book, and has no patience for drama. My hands are clammy. I'm wearing my one good suit, borrowed from Samantha. Livia sits beside me, her back rigid, her eyes huge. Across the aisle, they're already there. Madeline dabbing at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. Tabitha, whispering to her, looking smug. And their lawyer, Gregory Stone, a shark in a $2,000 suit. Roman, Tabitha's husband, sits in the back row, arms crossed, staring at me. All rise, the bailiff calls. Judge Calloway sweeps in, sits, and puts on her glasses. Reynolds family trust dispute. Temporary possession hearing. Mr. Patton, you may begin. Miles stands, his face a mask of professional calm. You'd never know our entire original file is gone. Your Honor, we are here today because my client, Gabriella Rowland, and her 12-year-old daughter were illegally locked out of their home by the respondents. A home, I should add, that was transferred into an irrevocable trust for Ms. Rowland and her daughter 6 months ago by her late father, Dr. Patrick Rowland. Gregory Stone is on his feet. Objection, Your Honor. We contest the very existence of this trust. The petitioners have conveniently failed to produce the original signed documents. Judge Calloway looks at Miles. Mr. Patton, the original documents were stolen from my vehicle 2 nights ago in a targeted theft, Your Honor. We have filed a police report which is attached. However, we have notarized copies of the entire trust, signed by Dr. Rowland, and a video deposition from the attorney who drafted them. The judge's eyebrow quirks. A theft? How convenient. Proceed, Mr. Patton, but you are on thin ice. My stomach clenches. This is exactly what we feared. Miles pushes on, presenting the copies. He presents the timeline I created, the affidavits from my father's 3 doctors, the hospital schedules. Then Madeline takes the stand. She is a perfect picture of a grieving widow. I just don't know what happened, she cries, her voice breaking. My husband, Patrick, he was so sick at the end. He was confused. And Gabriella, she was always whispering to him, getting him to sign things. I was so worried. And this trust? Stone asks gently. I never saw it. I'm sure it's something Gabriella faked after he passed. She's been unstable, erratic. She abandoned me in my grief. It's a performance worthy of an Oscar. Then Tabitha takes the stand. She's all righteous anger. My mother has been devastated. We've been taking care of her. I was just trying to protect my mother from my sister's greed. Gabriella was never there for Dad. She was always at the hospital at her important job. Mom and I were the ones changing his sheets, giving him his meds. It's a lie. A blatant, disgusting lie. I grip the table so hard my nails bite into my palms. Lies, I whisper to Miles. Shh, he says. Wait for it. The defense calls Evelyn Blackwell, Miles announces. Madeline's head snaps up. Her face goes white. Tabitha looks like she's been slapped. Aunt Evelyn walks steadily to the stand, dressed in a sharp navy suit. She swears the oath, her eyes fixed on the judge. Ms. Blackwell, Miles begins, you are Madeline Rowland's sister, correct? I am. And you visited your brother-in-law, Patrick Rowland, frequently during his illness. At least twice a week, Evelyn says, her voice clear and strong. And who did you observe caring for him? Gabriella, always Gabriella. She was running herself into the ground. She'd come home from a 12-hour night shift at the ER and be at his bedside, managing his medications, flushing his port, cooking his meals. I can't tell you the number of times I arrived to find Patrick alone because Madeline was at her bridge club or having lunch with Tabitha. Madeline half rises from her chair. She's lying. She always hated me. Mrs. Rowland, control yourself or I will have you removed, Judge Calloway snaps. She looks at Evelyn. Continue. Patrick told me himself, Evelyn says, that he was worried. He told me, Madeline only sees this house as a paycheck. Gabby sees it as a home. He told me he was making arrangements to protect Gabriella and Livia. Stone tries to object, but the damage is done. Finally, Your Honor, Miles says, we have the video deposition from James Wilson, the attorney who drafted the trust. The screen flickers on. A gray-haired, distinguished man appears. I, James Wilson, being of sound mind, attest that I drafted the Patrick Rowland Irrevocable Trust on March 12th. Dr. Rowland was lucid, specific, and adamant. He stated clearly that he had concerns his wife, Madeline might attempt to circumvent his wishes and disinherit his daughter. The trust was his solution. Madeline lets out a small, strangled sound. The judge looks at all the evidence. She looks at Madeline. She looks at me. Then a small voice pipes up. "Mom!" Livia is tugging on my sleeve. Can I say something? My heart stops. Honey, you don't have to. I want to. She stands up. Judge Calloway's severe expression softens. Come forward, young lady. What's your name? Livia Rowland. She walks to the stand, her back straight. She doesn't look at Madeline or Tabitha. She looks right at the judge. Your Honor, my grandpa, he taught me how to play chess in his study. Every Sunday, even when he was really, really sick, he'd make me set up the board. Her voice wobbles, but she doesn't cry. He told me that the house was special. He said it would always be our home, Mom's and mine. He said he was making sure of it, so we would always be safe. He said Grandma Madeline didn't appreciate what she had, and he was sad about that. She takes a deep breath. I just want to go home, and I want my cat, Milo. The courtroom is silent. I am blinking back hot, proud tears. Judge Calloway looks at Livia for a long moment. Then she looks at Madeline, and I see the exact moment the judge's decision locks into place. Judge Calloway closes the file. The sound is like a gavel. I have heard enough, she says, her voice cutting through the silence. The evidence, including multiple sworn affidavits from medical professionals and the testimony of the drafting attorney, overwhelmingly supports the validity of the Patrick Rowland irrevocable trust. She glares at Madeline and Tabitha. The story presented by the respondents is inconsistent, to say the least. The act of changing the locks on a minor child and removing her belongings in a storm is not just callous, it is legally indefensible. Therefore, she declares, I am granting immediate temporary possession of the property at 1245 Willow Creek Drive to the trustee, Ms. Gabriella Rowland. This order is effective immediately. I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. Livia's hand finds mine and grips it, hard. Furthermore, the judge continues, Mrs. Madeline Rowland and Mrs. Tabitha, whatever your last name is, are ordered to vacate the premises. The Atlanta Sheriff's Department will escort you from the property by 5 p.m. today. You will be allowed to take only your personal effects. Madeline collapses back in her chair, her face a mask of disbelief. The performance is over. This is an outrage, Tabitha shouts, jumping to her feet. You are one word away from a contempt charge, young lady, Judge Calloway snaps. Sit down. Final hearing on this matter is set for 3 weeks from now, but I suggest, Mr. Stone, you advise your clients on the futility of their position. All rise. We're dismissed. It's over. We won. Outside in the hallway, Tabitha turns on her husband, Roman. You said this would be easy. You said she'd roll over. You said stealing those papers would finish her. Shut up, Tabitha, he hisses, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the elevator, his face dark with rage. Gregory Stone, their lawyer, approaches Miles. Mr. Patton, perhaps we can discuss a settlement, a buyout. My client is, of course, entitled to her spousal share. I step forward. No, I say. Stone looks at me, surprised. Excuse me. No settlement, no negotiation. She's entitled to what the trust gives her, which is nothing. We'll see you at the final hearing. I take Livia's hand. Come on, baby, let's go. As we walk toward the exit, the sunlight hits my face. It feels different, warmer. Is it over? Livia asks, looking up at me. Almost, I say. We're going home. Winning temporary possession was just the first battle. The next 3 weeks are a war of attrition. Madeline and Tabitha's camp becomes desperate, and desperation makes them sloppy, but also dangerous. They're filing motions, Miles tells me, his voice weary. We're in his new office. He'd moved after the break-in. They're requesting a full psychiatric evaluation for you. My stomach clenches. We're back in our house, but it feels wrong, tainted. Can they do that? It's a delay tactic. They're claiming your erratic behavior and grief-induced psychosis make you an unfit guardian for Livia and an unreliable trustee. They're trying to get the judge to pause everything. That's insane. It gets worse. The hospital called me. Someone filed an anonymous complaint with the state nursing board, questioning your professional stability, citing erratic behavior and mental instability. They're trying to get your license suspended. The words hit me like a physical blow. My license, my career, my entire life. They're trying to ruin me. They're trying to make you so desperate you'll agree to a settlement just to make it all stop, Miles says. Stay the course, Gabby. I'll handle the nursing board. You just keep documenting. The next day, a call from Livia's school. Ms. Rowland, an officer from Child Protective Services, is here. They've received an anonymous report. I'm there in 10 minutes. A tired-looking woman, Miss Diaz, sits in the principal's office. I received a report alleging child neglect, she says, her eyes scanning me. That Livia is living in an unsafe and unstable environment, and that you are mentally unwell. I spend the next hour walking her through everything. The eviction, the court order, the police reports. I show her Livia's clean room, the fully stocked fridge, the second cat, Milo, now happily purring on the sofa. Ms. Diaz closes her notebook. Ms. Rowland, I am so sorry for this intrusion. This report is clearly malicious and unfounded. I'm closing the case. It's one more victory, but I'm exhausted. They are attacking me from every possible angle. My motherhood, my career, my sanity. Then, the day before the final hearing, the unthinkable. I get a call from the court clerk's office. Ms. Reynolds, this is Janet. We're prepping for tomorrow's hearing and we can't locate your documentation folder, the one with all your evidence. Cold dread. What? What are you talking about? Miles refiled everything last week. I know, it's just not here. It's not in the system. I'm afraid if we don't have the documents by noon today, the judge will have to grant a continuance. A continuance. Exactly what Madeline wants. More time to bleed me dry. I call Miles. He's in court. Unreachable. I'm on my own. I'm frantically searching my laptop for the digital copies when Livia walks in. Mom? You look scared. The court. They lost our files, baby. All our proof. Livia's face goes pale. Then she cocks her head. Grandpa's tablet. The blue one, remember. He said he backed up all his important papers to the cloud. He said the password was my birthday. I grab the tablet from his desk drawer. It powers on. I enter Livia's birthday. A cloud drive opens. A folder named For Gabi, just in case. It's all there. Every scanned document, every affidavit, every bank statement, and his letter. I spend the next 3 hours at a Kinko's, frantically printing, collating, and renotarizing every single page. I run into the courthouse at 11:49 a.m., 11 minutes before the deadline, and slam the reconstituted evidence folder on the clerk's desk. Someone deliberately misplaced our files, I tell Miles later, my hands still shaking. I know, he says grimly. They're pulling out all the stops, but it won't matter. Tomorrow, it ends. Imach. Thursday morning, 9 a.m. The final hearing is a formality. Judge Calloway, having reviewed the mountain of evidence twice, makes the temporary order permanent. The house is mine. The trust is validated. Madeline and Tabitha are given 24 hours to appeal, but they have no grounds. The writ of possession is signed. I don't go to the courthouse. Miles handles it. Instead, I'm parked across the street from my own home. It's 10 a.m. on Friday. Livia is in the passenger seat, clutching a framed photo of my father. I'm in the driver's seat. Miles is next to me, briefcase in hand. At 10:02 a.m., 2 Atlanta Sheriff's Department vehicles pull into the driveway. 2 deputies in crisp uniforms get out. "Are you ready for this?" Miles asks quietly. I nod, unable to speak. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. The lead deputy, a tall man with a calm, authoritative presence, knocks firmly on the door. "Sheriff's Department, open the door, please." A long pause. Then the door cracks open. It's Tabitha, her hair a mess, her face puffy. "What do you want?" "Ma'am, I have a writ of possession to execute. I need to speak to Mrs. Madeline Rowland and Mrs. Tabitha." He checks the paper. "Peterson. Are you Tabitha Peterson?" "This is harassment," she screeches. "We're appealing." "You are welcome to do that, ma'am," the deputy says, his voice flat. "But this writ is active and legal. I am required by law to read this aloud. Then you will have 20 minutes to collect your essential personal belongings. You will be supervised. You can't just— Ma'am, step aside." The deputy pushes the door open. Madeline is standing in the foyer, her arms crossed. "I am not leaving my home." The deputy begins to read the court order in a loud, clear voice. As he reads, Madeline's eyes find mine across the lawn. The look she gives me is not one of sadness. It is pure, unadulterated hatred. "You have 20 minutes, the deputy concludes. "My partner and I will accompany you to ensure only your personal belongings are removed. We have a detailed inventory list provided by the court." "Inventory?" Tabitha shrieks. "Yes, ma'am. All items belonging to the trust are to remain." I remain by the car, watching. Miles activates the video recorder on his phone, documenting the entire process. The deputies follow Madeline and Tabitha inside. The 20 minutes begin. Almost immediately, the shouting starts. We can hear it from the street. "That's a family heirloom. It was my grandmother's." The deputy's calm voice cuts through. "Ma'am, that silver set is specifically listed here as property of the trust. It stays. Please stick to clothing and toiletries." I close my eyes, remembering the nights I spent with my father, meticulously photographing and inventorying every item in the house. "He'll try to steal this, Gabby," he'd whispered, his hand shaking. "She will. Document it all." "I did, Dad," I whisper. 10 minutes in, the shouting escalates. Roman, Tabitha's husband, comes barreling out of the guest room. "You can't tell my wife what she can and can't take. This is our house." "Sir, you are not listed on this order. You need to step back. Now," the deputy commands. "I'm not going anywhere. You're the one who needs to get off our property." "Sir, if you threaten me again, I will place you under arrest for obstruction." That shuts him up. He glares, but he backs down. At the 17-minute mark, the deputies start carrying items out. A few suitcases of clothes, a box of makeup. One of the deputies emerges carrying a cat carrier. My heart leaps. "Found this little guy hiding under a bed in one of the spare rooms," he says, approaching me. "Seems a bit malnourished, but he's alive." I take the carrier. "Milo." I open the car door. Livia bursts into tears, opening the carrier door. "Milo, oh Milo, I missed you." The skinny cat crawls into her lap, purring like a broken engine. At 10:22 a.m., Madeline emerges onto the porch. Her hair is finally out of place. She clutches her purse. Tabitha follows, dragging a suitcase. Roman is behind them, his face purple. Madeline stops at the bottom of the steps and looks at me. "You'll regret this, Gabriella," she says, her voice low and venomous. "When you're old and alone and you need family, you remember this day. You remember that you did this." I meet her gaze. I am not shaking. "I'll remember," I say, my voice steady. "I'll remember standing in the rain with my daughter, begging you to let her in. You taught me all about regret, Madeline." She has no answer for that. She turns stiffly and walks to her car. Tabitha pauses, glares at me, then at her husband. "This is your fault," she hisses at him before storming off. The lead deputy approaches me with a clipboard. "Ms. Rowland, we've completed the formal transfer of possession. The occupants are gone." "Thank you, officer." "You should know," he adds, his voice lowering. "There are several items missing from your inventory." Mostly smaller electronics and some of your father's personal effects. We've documented it all for your attorney. We also found your father's medical equipment. It was in the basement, and it appears to have been deliberately damaged. The oxygen concentrator is broken. We photographed everything. I just nod. My throat is too tight to speak. He hands me a ring of keys. New keys. The locksmith just finished. The house is secure. It's yours. House keys, garage keys, the keys to my own life. I watch their cars pull away, one after the other. The neighbors, who had been watching, slowly retreat into their homes. Well, Miles says, tucking his phone away, it's done. I've already filed for a restraining order against all 3 of them, as a precaution. Thank you, Miles, for everything. You did this, Gabby, not me, you. He squeezes my shoulder and walks to his car. I turn to my car. Livia is getting out, still holding Milo, her eyes fixed on the front door. She approaches the steps slowly as if she's afraid the house will vanish. I walk up the steps, slide the new key into the new lock. It turns smoothly. I push the door open. The house is a mess. They left trash and the furniture is in disarray. It smells like stale wine and anger. Victory doesn't feel like a celebration. It doesn't feel triumphant. It just feels quiet, somber, a boundary restored, a wound that can finally start to heal. Welcome home, Livia, I say softly. She steps over the threshold, clutching her cat and her grandfather's photo, and for the first time in a month, she smiles. The rain is falling again. It's been 6 months. I stand at the kitchen window, a cup of coffee in my hands, and watch the droplets track down the glass. It's just rain. It doesn't have power anymore. My father's study is just as he left it. His books line the shelves. His glasses are on his desk. The only change is a small hand-painted wooden plaque Livia made, Dr. Patrick Rowland Memorial Reading Room. I sit in his chair sometimes, reading his journals. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Livia's peace garden is flourishing in the backyard. She's out there now in a yellow raincoat, checking on her plants. She's grown taller. The trauma aged her, but the healing has given her a quiet, unshakable strength. On my desk, upstairs, a letter in a simple frame. Gabriella Rowland, nursing supervisor, emergency services. I took the promotion. Samantha said, "It's about time. Patrick would be so proud." I'd cried then, the first real tears of release since this whole thing began. The house hums. It's the new security system. 6 cameras, reinforced locks, motion sensors. Not because I'm scared, because I'm smart. Never again. "Mom," Livia calls from the front porch. "Come watch the storm with me." I pour a mug of tea and join her. We sit in the rocking chairs, the ones Dad loved. The rain hammers down, but we're safe. We're dry. "It's raining just like that day," Livia says softly, watching the water sheet off the roof. "Yes," I say. "Same weather, different feeling." "This is our home now," she says. It's not a question. It's a statement. I squeeze her hand. It always was. Later, I sit at my desk, my therapy journal open. Tonight's prompt. How has your definition of strength changed? My pen hovers. Strength isn't just endurance, I write. For years, I thought being strong meant carrying everyone, never saying no. I confused sacrifice with love, but real strength is drawing the line. Real strength is protecting what's yours. Strength is knowing what to put down. My phone chimes, a notification. Aunt Evelyn forwarded me a screenshot. It's a public Facebook fight between Tabitha and Madeline, arguing over money at an estate sale. I block both their accounts. In my desk drawer, there's a letter. The one Madeline left in the mailbox after the eviction. I read it last week. 5 pages of self-pity, justifications, and blame. You were always his favorite. You never understood me. You owe me. Not one word of apology. I filed it away. I will not engage. I will not set myself on fire to keep her warm. The wind chimes on the porch, the ones Livia and I made from Dad's old medical tags, tinkle in the wind. The sound is clear and bright. Some storms wash everything away. Others just clear the air and help things grow. I like this storm better. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.